Now, we all think we know what it means to own our home. It feels so solid, so real. But how do you actually prove it? I mean, what piece of paper, what line of code in a government database gives you the absolute undeniable right to your own front door? It's a question that sounds incredibly simple, but the answer is a fascinating legal journey that has shaped our world for centuries. Okay, just imagine this for a second. It's a total nightmare scenario. You've saved up for years, you've signed a literal mountain of paperwork, and you've finally moved into your dream house. Then there's a knock at the door, and a stranger is standing there claiming they're the real owner, that you were totally conned, and that you have to get out. Your money? Gone. And now your home could be too. It's a terrifying thought, right? But it perfectly exposes the fundamental puzzle at the very heart of property law.
So, to really get this, we need to break it down into what lawyers sometimes call an eternal triangle. There are always three key players in this drama. First, you have person A, the original rightful owner. Then you have person B, the rogue, the fraudster, the con artist. And finally, there's person C, and in our story, that's you, the innocent purchaser who bought the property with no idea anything was wrong. So when B tricks A and sells the house to C, who should the law protect?
And look, this isn't some new modern problem. For hundreds of years, legal systems have had to make this incredibly tough choice. Do you side with the person who was wrongfully cheated out of their property, or do you protect the innocent person who paid good money, did everything right, and had no clue they were walking into a scam? There's really no easy answer here, and honestly, both sides have a pretty compelling argument.
All right, so let's rewind the clock and see how the law used to handle this, the traditional way. For centuries, the approach was based on a very, very simple and very strict idea.
Buying a house back then, it was basically a historian's job. Your lawyer would have to painstakingly trace what's called the chain of title, this long sequence of deeds, wills, and other documents to prove that every single person who ever owned that property, going back maybe 60 years, was legit. I mean, it's like you had to be a detective, sifting through this giant shoebox of dusty, ancient receipts. And if even one of those links in the chain was broken by fraud, the whole thing could just collapse. And this whole system was built on one really old Latin principle, nemo dat quod non habet. Now, I know it's a mouthful, but the idea behind it is actually super simple. You cannot give what you do not have. If the seller doesn't truly legally own the property, then they can't legally give it to you. The rogue in our story? They never really had true ownership to begin with, so they had nothing real to sell you.
And you can see what that means right here. This rule gave complete protection to the original owner, Party A. But it put all of the risk, every last bit of it, squarely on you, the buyer, Party C. It was the ultimate expression of the phrase caveat emptor, or buyer beware. You were on your own.
So, let's bring it back to our story. Under this old rule, the outcome for you would be, well, absolutely brutal. The law would simply say the true owner never lost their title in the first place, and you, the innocent buyer, you would lose the house, and then you'd have to try and chase down the fraudster, who's probably long gone, to maybe, just maybe, get your money back. A truly devastating result. So yeah, clearly that old system was a mess, super risky, really inefficient, and because of that, a revolutionary new idea came along, one that completely flipped the script on what it means to own property. And this is the system that most of us live under today, title registration.
The change was massive. See, the old way, deeds registration, was basically just a big library. The government was just the librarian. It would record your documents, but it made zero promises that they were actually valid. The new way, title registration, is a total game changer. The state doesn't just record the title, it certifies it. It guarantees it. The risk shifts from you, the buyer, to the state itself. And the result is certainty, efficiency, and a whole lot less stress.
And the whole philosophy behind this is something called the mirror principle. It's a great name, actually. The idea is that the official government register should be a perfect, crystal clear mirror. It should reflect exactly who owns the property and any rights affecting it. You shouldn't have to go digging into that messy history anymore. You just look at the mirror. What you see is what you get. Simple as that.
And this new system creates this super powerful legal concept called indefeasibility. I know, it's a mouthful, but it basically means that once your name is on that registered title as the owner, your claim is, well, unbeatable. It cannot be defeated or canceled. It's the system's way of giving you a rock-solid, state-backed guarantee.
But, and there's always a but, right?
What happens when this supposedly perfect system comes face to face with a really clever fraudster? Let's go back to our nightmare scenario one more time and put this modern system through its ultimate stress test.
Okay, this is where it gets really complicated. What if the rogue doesn't just pretend to be the owner? What if they use forged documents to actually trick the government and get their own name on the official state-guaranteed title? Now, that perfect mirror is reflecting a lie, and then they turn around and sell the house to you. You do everything right. You check the register, you see the rogue's name, and you buy the house. So now, who owns it?
And believe me, this isn't just some law school hypothetical. This is the core dilemma, the exact scenario that courts and legal thinkers have battled over for decades. Your purchase from the rogue was, on the surface, totally legitimate, but it's built on a foundation of pure fraud. This is where the system is truly put to the test.
So how do you solve it? Well, it turns out the answer depends on which of two competing theories your legal system decides to follow. On one side, you have immediate indefeasibility. Here you, the innocent buyer, win. The system says the most important thing is the security of the transaction. The second your name hits that register, your title is unbeatable, end of story. On the other side, there's deferred indefeasibility. In this world, the original owner wins this round. Your new title is considered tainted by the fraud and only becomes secure after one more clean, non-fraudulent sale. The focus here is on protecting the original victim from theft.
So, which one is the right answer? Well, that's the thing. There isn't one. Different countries and even different states have chosen different paths. It's a fundamental policy choice. Do you want to prioritize making property deals fast and secure, which helps the economy? Or do you want to prioritize protecting original owners from being cheated? It's this constant, delicate balancing act between absolute certainty and individual fairness.
So, even with this powerful system of indefeasibility, you can probably guess that cracks can still appear. The state's guarantee is strong, but it's not totally absolute. And that's why a final layer of protection has grown up around the system, to cover those gaps.
First off, you got to know the limits. Number one, the system never, ever protects a fraudster. If you're involved in the fraud, you get nothing. Second, some rights, called overriding interests, think of a utility company's right to access power lines on your land, are still valid even if they're not on the title. And of course, simple human error, a clerical mistake, can always happen. So indefeasible does not mean infallible.
So, to plug these remaining gaps, the market came up with its own solution: title insurance. You can think of it as a financial safety net. It's an insurance policy you buy that protects you from financial loss caused by all sorts of hidden title problems, including the big ones like fraud and forgery that might not be obvious on the public record.
Think of it this way. Title insurance is your final backstop. It's designed specifically for those incredibly rare but financially catastrophic situations, like the nightmare we started with, where the official system's guarantee might not be enough. It makes sure that even if you somehow lose the legal fight for the house itself, you won't lose your life savings along with it.
And all of this brings us right back to that big central question. The whole evolution of property law has really been a journey away from protecting the past and towards securing the present moment. But as we've seen, to get here, we've had to make some tough compromises. So I'll leave you with this to chew on. What is the ultimate goal of the system? Is it to achieve perfect, absolute justice in every single case, no matter how complicated? Or is it to provide practical, reliable security for society as a whole? The answer to that question is what really defines who gets to keep their dream home.